Hi, I'm Matthias. The most useful word I can offer you to describe AI right now is overconfident. The second most useful word is powerful, but you need to start with respecting that overconfident part first, or you'll accidentally wind up shooting yourself in the foot with all that power. I regularly have conversations with AI about topics that I already know very well. There are two main reasons I do this. The first is to see some ideas that I might not have considered, especially if I tell the AI to search the web for recent developments in the area. Sometimes it finds and surfaces things I didn't already know, so I learned something. And this leads me to the second reason I have these conversations, to see how capable it's gotten at synthesizing and distilling information. Spoiler alert, it is still very hit and miss. Here's an example of a recent diagram that ChatGPT gave me after deep thinking with a powerful model for over half a minute about a system architecture I asked it to make. Oh boy, where do I even start? Now, if you're not familiar with diagrams or architectures like this, no worries, let me give you a quick summary. This is an unmitigated disaster. As an analogy, imagine that you put together a paragraph of information by just choosing random words from the dictionary and chaining them together with some connectors like the, of, and. It could look like English syntax, but it would be semantically meaningless. This diagram is quite like that. But hey, let's take a look at some of the details for fun. Well, to start off with, apparently the clients of our system will communicate directly with our DynamoDB table. Now, it is theoretically possible to open up external access to DynamoDB, but that is almost never how you would actually do it, and especially not as the initial interaction. In fact, for a system like this, the client would virtually always be communicating exclusively to and through API Gateway, which in this system is apparently behind DynamoDB, when a sensible system would have it the other way around. As an analogy, imagine a bank where you as a customer are given direct access to the safe, and the safe has an automated system to notify the bank teller at the counter that you ignored regarding how much money you took. Great design, you think? Yeah. Next, let's take a quick look at that notification orchestrator in the middle. Apparently, that is also being triggered by DynamoDB, but also by SNS, the simple notification service. I'm already confused, but the only thing that this notification orchestrator apparently orchestrates is system status information in CloudWatch. Metrics and logging are valuable, sure, but if you asked your bank to transfer some money to someone, but then all it did was to write down on a piece of paper that you asked it to do that, you probably wouldn't feel very good about how well your bank is orchestrating your money now, would you? Now, I could talk about how bad this diagram is all day, but let's finish it off by looking at the disconnected data flow in the bottom right-hand corner. From Cognito to KMS encryption to an SQS dead letter queue. Actually, that's apparently an SQS dead letter queue because AI often has trouble spelling things correctly in images. But again, the data flow that this is suggesting makes absolutely no sense. Cognito is the place where we manage users. It can track the different people that we have that connect to our system and their passwords and stuff like that. But Cognito is something that we might reach out to or maybe connect up to our API gateway. It doesn't just sit there hanging out all by itself and then, for some strange reason, randomly trigger KMS encryption out of the blue. Now, KMS, or the Key Management Service, is a real thing, and we can connect it up for situations like managing encryption keys used by DynamoDB, for example. But this diagram has no such lines. And a dead letter queue is for situations where our system is unable to process some data that it should be able to process. But I have no idea what it might mean to hook that up to KMS. Okay, so after all this, do you want to know what ChatGPT told me about this image it generated? It said, architectural diagram, see image above for a visual you can drop straight into slides. Great idea. This is an excellent addition to my slide deck on how badly AI can go wrong. Overconfident, very overconfident, and with zero awareness. The key takeaway here is that AI will be just as confident when it hands us pure tripe as when it manages to offer up amazing insights. And that leads me to the powerful. Despite how ridiculously bad that previous diagram was, I regularly do get tremendous value from AI tools. I'll probably make another video later diving deeper on a recent mixed experience I had with the GitHub Copilot coding agent, but briefly, it started out making some really great changes pretty quickly. maybe at a junior developer level. But it went way off the rails when responding to my code review feedback, overconfidently bungling step after step. At the end of the back and forth, we had multiple times where it made and remade the same correct changes, diligently validating them and telling me each time all about how great they were. But it kept forgetting to actually provide the fix, even though it said that it had. I mean, if a tree falls on your keyboard in the forest and types the right solution, but no one is around to push the fix to the pull request, did it really make a sound? Okay, that metaphor mixing is maybe a bit of a stretch, but the point is that it was both powerful and overconfident. If I had just accepted the first thing that the agent offered me, if I had just trusted its very confident declaration of having solved the issue perfectly, then I would have been left with a code base with more problems than I started with. But because I could ignore its overconfidence and use my expertise to keep guiding it, I could finally get something valuable. In the end, I'm not convinced that this particular interaction with the coding agent was net positive, but it is still in preview, and I'm sure they're working hard to fix the issues I encountered and many more. But even when they fix them and we can all access even more powerful AI services, don't forget, today's word for AI is overconfident.